Gemini brain. Gemini, 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 Gemini brain.
I think we got something.
Welcome to the first podcast in this year of our Lord 2024. Have we noticed some updates? What's happening? I've gathered you all here today to go over this. In 2024, I will no longer be taking I'll no longer be taking comments and concerns personally. I'm okay if you're not, you can get off now. I'm sorry if you are coming, if you're showing up now or at some point in the future and you would really like to lodge a complaint and you really want me to take it personally, you missed the boat. So you're going to have to take it somewhere else. It's none of my business. Honestly, it's none of my goddamn business. So just to get us started here. Yeah. I recently, over the holiday break, found out that there is a Daiso near one of the Trader Joe's near my house. If you don't live in California, actually, my friend in Canada and BC said that there's a Daiso there. So perhaps there's a Daiso near you. It is a Japanese, like, home goods store. It's like a dollar store, but it's like a yen store because everything is priced in yen. And it's so incredibly fun. There's amazingly priced pottery. I have decided that I want to buy only tiny bowls, tiny cups, I like tiny things. Exhibit A. This I actually bought in Portugal, but it's neither here nor there. Second order of business. Third order of business. The first order of business was that your complaints, there's nowhere to put them anymore. If you have a constructive criticism or if you want to say something nice to me, we have a box for that. I will definitely be taking compliments personally, but I will no longer, your complaints are just going to the reject department. That's an email that nobody checks. It's at yahoo.com. You can use my email, my first email, blondechic77 at yahoo.com. I have not been able to log on to that for upwards of 20 years. So please I will not be apologizing. Please send your complaints there. No one will check them. Third order of business, I got a new desk chair. It's the crisscross chair. I'm obsessed. Thank you. I mean, okay. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, what I would like to cultivate more of in 2024, I will be showing up perhaps a little differently on the podcast and everywhere. In October of last year, 2023, as you may or may not know, I do human design and DFT tapping. My human design sessions were largely referrals on myhumandesign.com. That's Jenna Zoe. She's a wonderful human design teacher. She's like probably one of the first millennial teachers, and I would credit her with bringing system through to the current population. She has an app and she's really geared at people who've never heard of it before and really hitting that entry level. So for the last 3 years, 3.5 years, I've had the blessed opportunity to be one of her 17 referred readers. I was on the website. I got a lot of my human design business through just referrals from her website. She has a huge following and she doesn't do personal readings anymore herself. And so the people that were on the site were all personally trained by her. In October, when I was in Portugal, she called we had a WhatsApp group for all of the readers, and she let us all know that she won't be doing it anymore, kind of just wanting to move on. And, it was a beautiful chapter, and now we're all free to fly. So while that was a bittersweet ending, I have also realized in numerology, which I'm just learning about. Last year for me was a personal year 9, which is all about endings, finishing up, closing the loop on cycles. And to me, that was part of it. Ending that chapter of my life to me intuitively meant that it's finally time for me to start stepping up and showing up for myself, having the comfort of getting referred readings from somebody who is showing up and consistent with their visibility and already has like 200,000 followers on Instagram allowed me to just receive those without pushing forward on my own, even advertising that I do readings. And so this year for me is going to be cultivating my business, really planting seeds and seeing how and where I can show up to create something that I really love. Something that's out for me in 2024 is I will no longer be weaponizing my chart or astrology or any of these tools against myself to prevent myself from moving forward. In 2023, actually, the last couple of years, I've just been exploring my internal world when I found out about shadow work and that perhaps I had a low self-confidence question mark. A therapist told me I should do a self-confidence workbook. And I was like, how did we get here? Anyway, since the summer of 2018, which is like right around when my Saturn return ended, I've been really diving deep into my internal world and how I can clean it up and really getting back in touch with like who am I and what do I want and where am I going? And I finally feel like I'm at a point where I can start having fun back in the exterior world as well, being present in my body, which has been something that's been uncomfortable for me for a long time. I now feel a lot more equipped and able to do that. And so, yes, out weaponizing your chart against yourself, in adopting new identities, strategies, tactics, and beliefs to support yourself. So, one of the things that I have been using against myself is that I'm a manifester. So I'm inconsistent, which I've been telling myself means that I am not committed. I can't commit. I have a fear of commitment. I mean, some of these things are bigger, I'm going to say issues, but bigger themes in more than one arena of my life. So perhaps they will involve a little more unraveling. And I will no longer be using the fact that I don't have a defined sacral center as a reason why I can't show up for myself in my business, because commitment and dedication to creating the life you love does not mean only doing things when you feel good. I know I've mentioned this before, but I was a Division 1 college athlete, which means that I had to show up consistently. I had to show up. We had 20 hours of practice a week, both in the pool and in the weight room. And we did dryland conditioning before and after school. It was a different time also. So I showed up to things when I was sick, which, this is pre-COVID world. I showed up to things when I was heartbroken. I showed up to things when I was exhausted. I showed up to things when I was devastated. I showed up to things when I was injured. Some of this is probably a little bit, there is an aspect of taking care of yourself that I think is also really important. And I swung so far the other way after finishing college. The last couple of years, I've really been like, if you don't want to, you don't have to, or if you don't have the capacity, don't do it, or if you're not feeling good, don't show up. And I think it has given me a little bit too much wiggle room in the arenas that are important to me, in the arenas that are going to help me grow, in the arenas that are going to help me move forward, like participating on social media consistently, or participating in creating things for my business, or finishing. I have a course that I've started that I haven't finished. So, moving into 2024, I am deciding that I'm now someone who's committed to living the life I want. I've done a couple meditation practices, just connecting with what my future vision is. A lot of like this time of year, a lot of people are pushing, like make your plan, do your review, blah, blah, blah. I don't always want to. This year, I have really wanted to. So for the last 2 weeks, I've really been participating in those and allowing myself to reflect and review on what was working in 2023 and what wasn't, what needs to be let go of and left here, and what I can bring forward with me into 2024, which for me, in numerological terms, is a personal year one, with the caveat I don't know what the rest of them are. I only know 9 and 1, really, because those are what has been present for me. So it goes 1 through 9, and there is a collective energy for the year. So all of us will be experiencing a year 8, and then my personal year is year one. You can calculate your personal year by adding up your month and your day and getting it down to a single digit. There's calculators online, and there is a woman named Caitlin Carehart, which I will link in the show notes. And there's tons of people that do numerology. I'm just getting into it. This is a new language for me. Anyway, but year one is all about your personality, your personal self, your internal world, like being an individual, kind of being a little bit selfish and doing things because you want to. So this year I already sort of feel the energy shift from a lot of endings to a lot of new beginnings, and doing things because I want to, setting my life up in the way that I want to and in a way that feels good. Um and recreating how I'm talking to myself so that I can recreate how I'm showing up in the world. One of the big things that I have been using as a limitation, which I started at the top of the show, was using the anticipation of other people's opinions and limitations to stop myself from having conversations that I've needed to, showing up vulnerably, even posting ideas. I have tons of things in my draft folder. I have tons of things in my notes app. And I just I will no longer be doing that. And in order to work through this, which this is a big hurdle for me, this has been a big roadblock. This is something that has been like a solid pain point for a very long time. I am using hypnosis. I'm using talk therapy. I'm using EFT tapping. I'm using affirmations, journaling, writing poetry, and my new favorite thing, the Akashic Records. So, this is something that I'm going to be incorporating into my business more and more in 2024. I've already been doing some one-to-one readings, some one-to-one Akashic record readings, and I'm combining it with tapping and in some cases human design. And I don't know anyone else who is doing this. Maybe there's someone, but maybe not. And so I feel incredibly blessed to have this particular qualification and skill set. I love human design. I think it has been so imperative and important in helping me understand myself and allowing me to understand the people around me, the people I care about, the people I'm in close relationship with. It's helped me to understand my parents better, my romantic partners, my friends. We all have different motivations, and this system has really given me the gift of know everyone is different and we're all unique and special. So back to Akashic Records. So Akashic Records are basically the cosmic library. I kind of think about it as a cloud. Like it's not a physical place. It's like an energetic place, but it's the cosmic storing ground for the history of everything. Everything that ever was, is, or shall be, it's constantly being updated and upgraded. It's constantly you have a specific Akashic record, so it follows your soul through every lifetime that you've ever lived. So you can tap into something that you're going through right now and get a bird's eye view of what's happening, the energetic dynamics, and where you might be needing to focus in order to feel supported and learn the lesson. And you can also tap into, has this issue been around for me more than one lifetime? And like, what did it look like before? And why does it feel so heightened? I have it, for example, if you have a phobia of snakes, a lot of people, snakes, some are poisonous and can kill you. So a lot of people feel this uncomfortability around snakes, but some people have a very heightened physical reaction, a phobia. And if you have a hard time explaining it, or it just feels like it's bigger than this lifetime, it is possible that perhaps you died in a previous lifetime from a snake bite, or your child did, or, who knows? The possibilities are endless. So, in order to learn about the Akashic Records, now this is something that I got into at the beginning of my sort of spiritual journey in 2018. I went to a couple Akashic Record meditations, and I also looked up. There is, in order to access the Akashic Records, different people have downloaded or been, I guess, given through meditation pathway prayers. I think there are other ways also to access, but the way that I'm doing it currently is I'm reading this book. I looked it up and then I put it down somewhere. It's on my Kindle. It's called How to Read the Akashic Records by Linda Howe. And I actually came across this book through The Balanced Blonde, Jordan Younger's podcast. I listened to her on and off, and in this one episode she happened to mention it and said that it had been really taking her meditation game to the next level. And I thought, why not? I'd love to take my meditation game to the next level. So I got the book. It immediately was such a fun read for me. Also, I will add this in too. I had a psychic energy reading probably 6 or 8 months ago, and she mentioned seeing me doing something with past lives and combining it with tapping and human design. And I thought, ooh, my ears perked up. I've always been fascinated by past lives. Always. The last like couple of years when I sort of came out of my anti-theistic stage into into a theistic stage. Anyway, so that piqued my interest, and then I was listening to this podcast. Jordan Younger mentioned this book, and I thought, why not? If I know that Akashic Records, you can access past lives. I have had some positive meditations in the Akashic Records and been able to access a past life a couple of years ago when I was in the Turks and Caicos. Anyway, that's another story for another time. So I start reading this book. She tells you how to do it, and everyone can do it for themselves. Just, I would really recommend this book. She walks you through it. It's pretty short. I found it to be a very compelling read. And in the book, she has a prayer that you say that you can access your records, and you use your legal name, your full legal name at the time of the reading. So if it's not your birth name, it's what your name is now if you've changed it. And you can ask a question. You can just go and enjoy the energy. It is governed over by the masters, teachers, and loved ones. So there's specific beings that work in the Akashic Records to like, I don't know, they're like cosmic, little cosmic librarians. They're the keepers of the book of life, as it were. And using your specific name pulls the vibration of your records. And they will give you the information that you need right now to support you. And I have found it just to be very, for lack of a better term, supportive and loving and gentle. And yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. I started doing readings for friends because that felt like a safe way to start exploring how can I incorporate this into my business and do it to help people. While you can do it on your own, and I would highly suggest if you're interested to get into that, you don't have to. In the same way, and sometimes it can be more supportive to have somebody give you a reading. It does feel so good to be held and to have somebody deliver that information to you, and you have everything you need. So we're not about gatekeeping, we're about empowerment here. And if that's something you're interested in, I would highly recommend the book. Not everyone can be doing all the things all the time. And if you're just like, listen, I am so interested and I just want I just want a reading. I just want some help. I want some support. I want to feel held. I am working on an offer that will include that. And for the first couple of probably months that I'm doing it, it will be the lowest price that it will ever be because I'm still learning and I want to feel like I'm providing quality at a screaming deal, especially right now. We can all really use a screaming deal, can't we? And I want, yeah, I want everyone just to feel like they're getting the most out of it. So in these sessions that I've been practicing, I've also been incorporating tapping at the end to really sink in the messages that we've been getting that have been coming through. So that's sort of optional. I've had people opt out too, but it really does sort of deepen and solidify the knowledge into your subconscious and help you move forward using this energy and then these messages to the best of your ability. Yes. So the Akashic records, I mean, it's more on that to come as I continue to explore it, but that will be something that is coming that I'm going to be weaving into my offerings and what I'm talking about and what I am providing coming in this coming year of our Lord 2024. And yeah, ideally combining it with EFT tapping and human design, which are all incredible tools on their own. And like, as a combination, you're getting sort of your internal human design provides the user manual, as it were, the IKEA manual of like, what parts do I have consistently? Where am I sensitive to other people? Where do I maybe need some more energetic boundaries, or just the understanding that I'm taking in a lot of energy from my environment? And I am noodling with offering a master class on this, on how to use the energetic centers in your chart to navigate um where you're designed to receive and where you're designed to consistently give, and to sort of reframe perhaps your sensitivities. So the internal view, human design. EFT tapping is a direct line in rewiring your subconscious beliefs, patterns. You can change the way that you feel about something, or you can change the way that you're behaving in order to change the way that you feel. So I want to wake up early and exercise, and I'm not doing it right now. You can use EFT tapping to change the belief system that you have about yourself. I'm not a person who wakes up early because it's cold or blah blah blah. You can, whatever those particular things are for you, you can really go in and reevaluate and rewire those things. And it also helps to reduce your cortisol while you're tapping, and it epigenetically can impact your gene regulation. So they did a study, and I think it was 1 hour of tapping. This is from Peta Stapleton's book, The Science. A lot of links here. I believe it's The Science of Tapping. Anyway, Peta Stapleton is one of the leading researchers who are using EFT in her studies, and she has an incredible, just her website, her Instagram, great follow if you're interested in tapping. And she talks about this study. I believe it is 1 hour of tapping was shown to regulate 72 genes. So turning on and off 72 different genes, and that was just what they measured. Huh. So, okay, so we have the user manual. Now we have the tool to change the behavior or how we feel about the behavior. And then the Akashic Records provides the bird's eye view, the zoomed out version of events delivered lovingly and objectively from the masters, teachers, and loved ones who want you to succeed, who love you so much, and who can provide you with comfort and information so that you can take responsibility for what's happening in your life and make changes according to where you want to go instead. And you can really integrate those lessons with the EFT tapping, you know? Okay. So I'm very excited about how this is sort of shaping up and just putting this here for you. This is sort of an ongoing project, I guess, as it were, an ongoing evolution. And I know that all three are going to be important for me in 2024. And so stay tuned. Oh, Okay. So in addition, I'm going to use the Akashic records through through my podcasting in order to deliver energetic updates. So this isn't one I have not logged in for today, but I am going to be offering energetic updates on the podcast. I'm also thinking about just leaving different tappings on here so that you can get a sample of what it's like to do an EFT tapping if you haven't done one, and there's no excuse. It'll be delivered right to your Spotify, right to your Apple Podcasts, or you can get it on YouTube as well. And I'm also thinking about doing some affirmations. I just found out that Spotify has affirmations that you can listen to and download. I have Spotify Premium, which I've been paying for years. I do enjoy it. It's sort of something that has been just automatically coming off my credit card. But I also just found out that you can listen to audiobooks on Spotify Premium. So during the pandemic, I really got back into reading. I joined two different book clubs. I'm not in either of them anymore. It just none of them were in person, so it didn't whatever. But it really served to get me back into reading. And in this past year, I have gotten into, as you can tell by my episode right before this, it's called The Fourth Wing and Iron Flame Character Study Through Human Design. I have gotten into romantasy, which is romance fantasy, a genre I did not know I needed. So I highly recommend. If you are a millennial, you're probably a millennial woman. Romantasy is probably your genre. The general witchiness of the 90s, we had Sabrina the Teenage Witch, we had Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we had, I don't know, I was obsessed with Salem. Was anybody else obsessed with Salem? Like the cat, obviously, on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but also the Salem witch trials were like, we went when I was 7. I don't know. I still vividly remember that trip. And Harry Potter came out when I was 10, I believe, 10 or 11. I think I was the same age as Harry Potter was. So we really grew up steeped in this magical, adventurous world. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of forgot how much I like reading about. I think the last one I read was Twilight, and I was like, this is kind of lame. And Twilight, we know ya, we love ya, you're kitschy as fuck. And I appreciate all of the TikToks that I've seen of people really embodying the characters in that movie. And there are good romantasy books. There are compelling character arcs and magic, and I'm having so much fun. I also, for a little while, thought I had to read Chair Tolkien, R. Tolkien, what the fuck's his name? The Hobbit and all that. And I haven't, and like maybe I will, but they feel so daunting to me because they're so thick and like I've already seen the movies, and the movies, I don't know, they're just so long. And I know people are obsessed with them, and maybe I'll get around to it, but I'm just not there yet. Your girl's like entry level romantasy. So anyway, that's been something I've really enjoyed. And then I've also been getting into romance novels. This is just a personal aside recently. And I read one the other day, and it's not the same as it was when I was a young warthog. These novels really like, this is going to sound probably cuckoo to younger people who are like, nada, but the consent that's woven into novels now, the diversity of the cast of characters. There's queer characters, there's non-binary, there's disabled. I just read the book Icebreakers. Okay, so it's a college hockey player and a college figure skater. I was a college athlete, and so I can relate on those levels. Turns out the figure skater was adopted. Me too, na. And then the hockey team, I don't know, it's very refreshing and sweet. And I had a wonderful college experience. And I went to college in a time when, like, I don't want to say no means no, but like no didn't necessarily mean no. You know what I mean? And now you can't give consent when you're drinking. And that is something that's common knowledge, or like at least a lot more common knowledge. I'm not going to say every young person in America or the world is, I mean, I hope, I hope. And it does seem to be a more common piece of information, and consent is something that is largely talked about. I don't think that that was, sadly, I mean, we took like sexual harassment classes and stuff, but honestly, it wasn't so much like an enthusiastic yes as it was like teaching a lack of no. You know what I mean? So anyway, this is all to say that I found modern romance novels to be healing for some of the things that I internalized from like just being around in the 90s and 2000s. Okay, so welcome to 2024. I'm so glad you're here. If you have not yet sort of reflected on 2023 and where you want to go in 2024, might I suggest my EFT tapping teacher, Gala Darling, has a free workshop on YouTube, and she is chef's kiss. I'm currently halfway through her release and reset. So we did release on the 30th, and reset will be this weekend. If you can purchase that, I believe, on her website. And I will link both of those below. Might I also suggest just doing some journaling and reflecting? Like you can definitely do this on your own. What isn't working? What do you know needs to go? If you want some help, soon, very, very soon, I will be offering Akashic Records readings so I can help you determine where to steer your ship. I can help you determine how to let go of the things that aren't serving you. And we can do a tapping session together. You can book a one-to-one tapping session right now on my website, and you can sign up for my email list to be the first to get notified of the new offerings. And just as a side note, I did offer free Akashic Records readings to my email list, and that is how I've been getting my practice, is for the besties who are subscribed to my email list. So if you're on the list, you're getting offerings that are nowhere else, and sometimes they're juicy, amazing, incredible, free Akashic Records. I'm not offering that anymore, but who knows when the next thing's going to be. Okay. So I love you so much. Thank you for being here. And how much do you love this? Nice.